Can you successfully raise sheep and goats on as little as 8 acres and still actually make a profit? Yes, you can. Stay tuned to find out more. Hey everybody, it's Tim from Linessa Farms, Specialty and Heirloom Livestock. Thanks for joining me again today. So there's lots and lots of information out there where people are saying, oh, you're gonna make all kinds of money and you're gonna do this and you're gonna do that. And then when you get the math done at the end, you're like, this does not make any sense whatsoever. This doesn't seem realistic. And we get lots of questions to us about, do you actually make money? How do you make money? How do you make this work? And then we get lots of questions about permaculture and how everything ties together and how we utilize our resources. So today we're going to do two main things. We're going to kind of take a behind the scene look at Linessa Farms. We're going to talk about how we stay profitable and some of the tips and tricks that we do. And I guarantee you, if you watch the entire video, you're going to find at least one thing that you never even thought of that you could utilize on your farm to make added income as well. And the last thing we're going to talk about is how we kind of harmonize all of these different things together and create our own little ecosystem here that works, keeps our animals healthy, and keeps our animals safe. The number one thing that you can do right now, as far as I'm concerned, with the state of the economy, we don't know where prices are going to go. We got $6 a gallon diesel. It's going to get worse than that. And it's kind of one of those times where I think the best thing you can do is kind of lay low, ride this out and see what's going to happen. With that being said, the number one thing that you can do for yourself and for your farm is to learn how to really maintain your sheep and goat health in general. You want to keep these animals healthy. It is very, very important that you're not losing livestock. Losing livestock hurts really, really bad. And we've talked about this before. I'm all about culling. I'm all about, the natural selection process, but there's a better way to do this without just letting animals die. If you find that there's an animal that doesn't suit the needs of your farm or doesn't really fit into your program, simply sell that animal to the sale barn, sell it to someone else, and move on from there. You can really do yourself a lot of favors, and it will extremely pay dividends to you and your farm by taking the time to learn how to identify illnesses and treat your animals in order to keep them healthy. It doesn't take many trips for the veterinarian to come out to add up to sucking up all of your profits. So that's something that you definitely want to do. There is a time and a place for a veterinarian. Veterinarians are very, very important. If you don't have one, you need to get in touch with one, get a consultation going with one, and have someone on speed dial for those times when you absolutely do need them. We use veterinarians ourselves. We are not by any means anti-veterinarian. However, with that being said, there are a lot of times that you just don't need a vet. There are simple things that you can do and you can maintain on your farm in order to keep healthy, happy livestock and save yourself a lot of that time and heartache. Now, Linessa Farms as a sheep and goat education channel, but if you've watched any of our videos, there's always chickens running around in the background. What in the world is going on with that? Well, if you've raised sheep or goats for very long, you know a couple things about them. One, they do tend to waste some food. And the other thing is, during the warm summer months, you're going to experience things like flies, lice, ticks, and other problematic insects. The beautiful, beautiful thing about keeping chickens around is that they free range, at least on our facility, they free range. We do not have a fly problem. And the reason we don't have a fly problem is because our chickens actually eat all of the fly larvae before they can turn into flies. We do not spray our animals here. We do not have any issues whatsoever. The chickens take care of everything for us. The other thing is during the summertime, we just free range our chickens. They just run around on this 8 acres and they do whatever it is that they want to do. They eat whatever it is that they want to eat. They lay their eggs in general locations every single day. They are going to lay in about the same place. We gather those eggs and we're able to sell those eggs for profit, eat those eggs for ourselves, and hatch those eggs into chickens, which we then turn around and sell as well. Now during the winter months, we do have to supplement somewhat with feed for the chickens in order to keep them going, but it's a nominal amount. We'll kind of draw down our chicken population during the winter time, and we'll have maybe 20 to 30 that free range, and we'll feed them and we'll supplement them. We naturally let them molt, we naturally let them stop laying, but then during the warm months, they just pick right back up, and we do absolutely fine with them. So if you haven't had chickens, or if you've been thinking about having chickens on your farm, I am a big proponent of it, and I think it's a great idea. The downside of having chickens, they can be a little bit dirty. You need to keep an eye on them. You need to make sure that they're not pooping in your water, not pooping in any of your animal feed, and that you may have to go around behind them and clean up a little bit, but by no means is this difficult, and by no means is this something that you can't keep up with. And those are our guineas. Now the guineas don't really do a whole lot as far as meat production or egg productions, although you can eat guineas, you can utilize the eggs. What I really like about the guineas is that they really go after some of the ticks, they go after ants and some other things that cause problems, specifically around my beehives. The guineas just absolutely love to be around my beehives and get hive beetles and things like that. So we have about 7 of them that they just run around and they free range and they do a great job. We're happy to have them, and they're happy to be here as well. So I'm out here in my field, and you notice we've got some orchard grass that's going to seed now. We're going to be baling here next week. And if you also look, I've got some giant clover. And I have, what else do I have here? I have some alfalfa, but if you look right here, we've got some giant clover, and we've got these pretty flowers on there. And you know what loves clover? Honeybees. So this is one of my nucleus hives we just did a split on, and as you can see, the bees are coming and going and having a good time. We'll usually run about 8 hives throughout the year, and we obviously, one more stream of revenue. We've got an 8-acre field in front of our home with tons and tons of clover and alfalfa. This is a no-brainer. This is a great way to make extra money. We bottle the honey, it's local, and we're able to sell the honey and sell the beeswax. You know, raising honeybees is a learning curve. I've been doing it for quite a while. I have no desire whatsoever to make honeybee videos, but again, this is something you can do on a very low budget with a little bit of education that you can get yourself on YouTube and through books, and it's an easy way to again make an extra revenue stream. We think it's another great idea to add to your farm. So this is Mavis and Murphy, and Mavis and Murphy are Great Pyrenees dogs. Murphy here, believe it or not, is a puppy. He won't turn a year old for another 2 months, and they are great livestock guardian dogs. And the other thing is these dogs are extremely cost effective. If you prevent the loss of one single animal, more than likely you have paid for the cost of buying one of these Great Pyrenees. On average, the puppies run about $300. And what we do here is we have a breeding pair. Mavis and Murphy do a fantastic job of guarding all of our livestock. We naturally keep them together, we allow them to breed, and we utilize the sale of the puppies from Mavis and Murphy to help pay for their room and board here on the farm. The lambs and goat kids absolutely love them. You come out early in the mornings, and lots of times you'll see both of these dogs with lambs or goat kids piled up all around them. They are a great addition to our farm, and we think they're a great addition for anyone that's looking for a livestock guardian dog. We really like the Great Pyrenees. We've had Commodores in the past. We think they're just a tad too aggressive, and so we have settled on the Great Pyrenees. We advise that you get them from a farm that they have been raised from puppies with chickens, sheep, goats, anything that you're gonna have on your property, especially with birds and fowl. If you're gonna have free-range chickens or birds on your property, it's important that they've been raised around them since they were a baby. It will help them from seeing that animal as prey and trying to attack them. You know, again, if you're gonna have them, why not have them make money for you? Get a breeding pair, allow them to have babies, raise those babies and sell them off your farm. You know, allow them to work for you and to give you at least one more stream of revenue. Mini cows, really? Yeah, really. So these things sell for a lot of money. The other thing that I really like about having cows, especially on dry lot, is they tend to clean up things that sheep and goats don't. If you've been raising sheep and goats and you've had round bales before, you know that they leave a ton of waste on the ground. And that's where these mini cows come in handy, is they love to eat the waste that the sheep and the goats will leave on the ground and eventually just trample and poop all over and make a mess out of. The other thing that I really enjoy about our mini cows is that they're like little portable furnaces, and during the winter time you will come out and you'll see a mini cow laying down covered in lambs and covered in sheep, covered in goats. They get along great with the animals. They're not so big that they hurt anyone or really get in the way, but they're big enough that you can eat them if you want to, you can sell their livestock and just go from there. We do not currently have a bull in with them. Both of them are actually pregnant. Horns here will actually have her baby here next month. She is very pregnant, and we look forward to sharing more information with you about that. But cows in general, I don't think a full-size cow is appropriate for your sheep and goat farm. I think it causes more problems than good. But I will say a feeder calf that is small that you can keep, that's maybe no more than twice the size of your sheep or goats, and has been castrated, or just miniature cows, Highlanders, mini Herefords, kind of in that class. I think they work out great and are good complementary animals to sheep and goats. Tim is one of our grower feeders, and he just lives out here. He's about the same size as these guys. He's a, what is he? He is a castrated cross between an Angus and a Limousin, and he does great. And like I said, he's about the same size as these guys, so he doesn't get in the way and he doesn't cause any problems. Kitty cats. This is Jacob. We have about 9 or 10 cats. I don't know how many cats we have around here. We love our cats. If you don't have farm cats, we would highly encourage you to get them. I'm allergic to cats. I got to make sure I wash my hands when I get in the house. But I will tell you, when you have feed, especially when you have grain and you have animals around, you're going to get rodents, you're going to get mice, you're going to get rats. And that's where these animals really come in handy. They really help to keep that population way down. I will tell you this, all of our barn cats are litter trained. And we purposely litter train them because one of the drawbacks with cats is you want to make sure that they are not defecating anywhere where your animals are going to eat. And the reason for that is cats are well known for carrying toxoplasmosis. It's not healthy for pregnant ewes or does. It's also not healthy for pregnant females. While we love our cats, we make sure that we feed them, they get a cat food, we make sure that we give them a clean, fresh water to drink from, and we make sure that they are litter box trained. During the summer months, they tend to go outside, but during the winter, if they're going to be in the barn, it's very, very important that they know to use a litter box and not use your hay or straw as their litter bed. And this is our cat door. If you don't have a cat door, we highly suggest that you get one. You can pick these up at any pet supply store, and it's a great way to train your cats to get in and out of your barn without having to leave a door wide open and have to worry about them or other critters, that is to say, of larger stature getting in and out of your barn. I think narrowing down the breeds that you have and not getting too wide of an array of breeds is helpful as well, because you can really tune in, you can really fine tune what it takes to keep that animal healthy, what it is that works well for that breed, what it is that may not work well for that breed, and kind of find what it is that you're looking for. It also helps you to identify breed standards and kind of hone in on what is a good looking animal for that breed. And that can be very difficult when you have a lot of different animals on the farm. Now, we may be confusing in that regard. You may watch our videos and you may think this guy has a ton of different breeds, and that's true, we do. We run an educational channel, and I like to put my money where my mouth is. You know, if I tell you something about a breed, it's important for me that you understand that I actually know what it is that I'm talking about. So we have lots and lots of different breeds on our farm. I have Katahdins, I have Dorpers, I have Southdowns, I have baby Southdowns, I have Ile-de-France, I have Cordale, I have Cormos, I have Rambouillets, I have Columbias, I have Polled Dorsets, I have Baby Doll Southdown, and then when you get into, I'm sure we've had St. Croix before. Anything else you can think of, Camera Lady, that I haven't covered? We've had you name it within, oh, we have Hampshire, Shropshire, Suffolk. If you can name it, we've probably had it, or we currently have it. Romney, we don't have Mitt anymore. He went to another friend's farm, but we did have a Romney sheep named Mitt, believe it or not. And then the animals that we don't have, we have friends that have them. We have our shearer raises Textile. Our friend down in Indianapolis raises Linessa Blacknose. So, you know, we try to get out there and actually get our hands on all kinds of different sheep just for educational purposes. And it's the same thing when it comes to our goats. You know, we have Boer goats, pygmy goats, Nigerian dwarf goats, Oberhausley, Saanen, Alpine crosses, and I'm sure I'm missing something else that we have, but we have a lot of goats as well. Did I say La Mancha goats? Because I meant to say La Mancha goats. We actually have a La Mancha right over there now that I see it. And we also have a Finn sheep cross, and we also have a pointy-eared, ugly-looking sheep. I think it's a border, perhaps a border luster. We want to be able to actually have these animals learn about the breed and be able to relay that to you. With that being said, we feel that it's important for you as a producer to really kind of narrow it down. You know, at least as far as your breeding ewes and your breeding does are concerned, you can bring in different breeds of bucks to breed on them. But as far as your breeding stock, I think it is helpful to consider whittling that down to 1 or 2 specific breeds. We successfully run, what you're looking at right here on this whole spread right now is 30 breeding ewes and 20 breeding does. These are just our breeding females. Our replacement ewes and does are still up on dry lot. They'll remain there all summer. And then we have all of our males on one of our other farms about 10 miles away from here, in addition to other animals that we have as well. So when we're talking about profits and sustainability, I want you to know that I am in fact just talking about what we do here on this 10 acres, really minus my 2 acres that my house sits on. So when I'm making the video here, I want you to know that I'm just talking about this piece of property here. I'm not talking about any additional property that we have in other locations. So our home itself sits on about 10 acres. We do utilize other ground in other locations that we raise additional livestock on, but on the 10 acres that we have here, our home sits on a mowed yard that takes up about 2 acres. Our dry lot area that you're very familiar with from the videos takes up about 1 acre. And then we've got this additional area over here, which is about 7 acres, 7 to 7.5 acres, give or take, that we rotational graze and we bale every year. Now, I have round bales produced on my farm, and I don't use just round bales, but what I'm able to do is I get about 3 cuttings per year. I'm able to take my round bales, keep the round bales that I'm going to use during the winter months, sell the other round bales, take that profit, and buy my small square bales that I need with that. It makes my life a lot easier. And I have a pretty good deal worked out with other farmers. Now, we have a really, really good soil content here on our farm in Indiana. We have very nice blue clay with black dirt on top of it. And as you can see, it grows really, really well. We've got a lot of grass mix. We've got clover. We've got alfalfa. It's very, very thick, and we do very, very well with our cuttings. I rotational graze half of this. I bale the other half. So I'm baling about 4 to 4.5 acres per cutting. When I actually cut this, we get about 3 cuttings a year, and I can expect to get roughly 12 tons of hay per cutting is about what we average. So the big question is, what do you do about fertilizer? Some people say, you know, you gotta fertilize. Other people say, you know, you just got to add lime, and that, you know, some of that is true, some of it isn't. What we do is we hire a professional to come out. He does soil samples on our farm every year. It's very, very expensive. It costs me about $7 an acre to have the soil samples done. They tell me what my pH is, which tells me if I need limestone or not. They tell me if I need potash, if I need nitrogen, whatever else that I need to add. The best thing that we've found, though, that works really, really well for us is spreading manure on the farm. We have a video about manure and about spraying manure. You can check it out here. we're not about making large purchases on your farm. We think that, especially now with the economy being the way that it is, that you can realistically look and do, you know, as much as possible without spending any additional funds. I will, however, say that it would be difficult for me to do without having a manure spreader. That manure is extremely valuable. Sheep and goat manure, it works out fantastic. It's not overly hot as far as nitrogen is concerned, and we can bring it out here and spread it, let the sun hit it, it'll kill any parasites that is in it, and it does a fantastic job. We don't spread manure on the side of the pasture that we will actually be rotational grazing that year. We spread it on the side of the pasture that is being baled. So normally the way it will go is we'll go through, we'll do a cutting. After the grass is cut down really short, we'll go through and we'll spray manure on it. It takes 2 to 3 weeks before that grass gets up high enough to actually cover it. The sun is able to hit it. Those UV rays help to break it down. The rain gets on it, and we don't have any issues. But the main thing is having that really nice manure spreader that spreads it out very evenly. You can get one of these relatively cheap. If you look online, there's used ones that are for sale. So we encourage you to do that. If you're going to be dropping $1,000 or more on some kind of equipment, the best bang for your buck, as far as we are concerned, is in a manure spreader. If you just look at the prices of fertilizer right now, and if you aren't sold on getting a manure spreader, you will be soon. So, you know, with our farm, we do dry lot during the winter months, and that dry lot produces a lot of manure. So we're able to take that manure that's produced during those 6 months of dry lot and reutilize that and work it back into our farm to our benefit. Because we don't have a full 365-day-a-year rotational grazing operation on pasture, that is one of the benefits. Is we get this excess manure buildup, we're able to stockpile it, allow it to break down, and then spread it. So as you can see, this is one of 3 major manure piles that we have from clean out from last spring. Again, this is just sitting here, letting the rain go on it, letting it leach out, letting it kind of cook and biodegrade down, and we are going to take that out and spread it on our fields. This is gold. We use this for mixing in potting soil on our property. We use this to make liquid fertilizer, which is a whole nother video, and we also direct spread it on our fields. So while dry lotting does have its drawbacks, this is one of the major benefits, especially with the skyrocketing costs of fertilizer. Years ago, when we started our rotational grazing, we actually ran our sheep and our goats separately because of the copper issue. We didn't want to be giving copper supplementation to our goats and then not being able to give copper to our sheep. And what we found was our sheep were eating and leaving things very, very high and patchy, and our goats were eating everything down to the ground. So what we've done now through the use of copper boluses and through other medications is we've combined our sheep and our goats, and that allows us to get a more even pasture. It allows them to eat this closer to the ground, and it just keeps for a healthier pasture in general. There's no real rule of thumb as far as, you know, what works and what doesn't, as far as how long are they going to be out on one section of pasture. That requires, you know, looking into the future and knowing what kind of rainfall you're going to have and what kind of species of plants you have and what the temperatures are like outside. That causes lots and lots of problems. But as a general rule of thumb, I would say we rotate our animals. They're on approximately 1/2 acre parcels that get rotated every 2 weeks. And that's the best that we can do. So here in about another week, we're going to be going from this to this. And again, we don't want to let it get eaten down so much that they're going to the new pasture completely starving to death because they're going to eat too much and they could potentially bloat. But that's a whole nother video. So Tessa found a 4-leaf clover. That's kind of her thing. I don't know if it's the red hair or what, but it seems like every time we are out shooting a video, she just bends over and is like, oh, look, a 4-leaf clover. So congratulations, Tessa, again. I haven't found one in years, and you find 3 or 4 every every trip we make out to the pasture. If you need feed or feed solutions, make sure you check out our feed store. It is foundationfeed.com. We have all kinds of options for you, from medicated feed to all natural feed to medicated dry supplements as well. We are one of the only places online that I know of that you can get a mineral plus vitamins plus coccidiosis medication. So that's one of our specialty items. Make sure that you check that out. And if you have any questions, make sure you let me know. I hope that the ideas that we gave you today, maybe even if it's just one of them, kind of triggered in your mind that there are additional things that you can do on your farm and that you can consider in order to make more money. You really have to start thinking outside of the box. And the beautiful thing about this is you can kind of pair conservation together with your unique situation and your unique farm. You pair those two together and you're going to come up with all kinds of options that you probably haven't thought about before. You know, we talked to you about our chickens and our cats and our dogs and our bees and all kinds of things today that just really don't have anything at all to do with sheep and goats. But when you look at it from a different perspective, when you look at it through a different lens, it kind of makes you think like, yeah, that does work, and that is something that I can easily implement into my farm to add an extra revenue stream. I'm Tim from Linessa Farms. Thanks for joining me again today, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.